So here's my tutorial on how to make a BJD. Don't read the fine print. So what is a BJD? Well, I just took the answers off the internet. It's basically a doll that rotates based on ball joints. The second question is, why are BJDs so expensive? They range between $300 to $1,000, and this is usually because of how hard they are to create. They have a lot of parts. Mine personally has 27, which might be a bad decision, and also they take a long time to make, since some people can take up to 2 years. What are BJD dolls used for? Well, they're great paperweights, and they can do a great job at sitting there. And where can I buy ball jointed dolls? Well, you can buy them on the internet, since most people just have their shops on their Instagrams. It's just a hobby that's often found on the internet, since a lot of dealers have online shops. Here are the bare minimum materials. It's some type of primer, which is spray paint that can be sanded, epoxy sculpt, which is a great sculpting tool, and I personally use Sculpey, which is a bakeable clay. The most useful tool for when you make mistakes is an X-Acto knife, since you can just carve out anything you don't like. Here are the types of things you can do for your head. You could do a faceplate cut or a back cut. A faceplate cut basically makes your face easily removable, while a cut in the back makes it less easy, so you can't accidentally take off of the doll's face. You can also choose between single and double magnets, which double magnets just provide more stability. Here are just two things to do that really help, is to always turn your face to the side in order to check if the nose is curving out correctly, and to always make the forehead bigger. The bigger it is, the more better it looks, I guess. It's mostly just to account for the hair that's usually there. Here's just a time lapse of me trying to sculpt a face. I start off making some indentations where the face should be, then I just add some clay in to rough out some features. Don't mind me scrolling through the internet on the side. Here I am checking the side and then going back. I sculpt the eyelids by putting clay on and then sculpting out the eyes. Then I just hollow out the back and make sure there's nothing there, because usually a faceplate is hollow. Then I make the forehead bigger, and I try to hollow out the eyes. That's about it. The number one tip for hands and feet are to always make them smaller than you expect. I would say around 2/3 the face. I also chose to do magnetic hands and feet, and I chose to do a flat type foot instead of a heel type foot, which is just for different types of shoes. Here's just a comparison on head size to hand size. I still made them a bit big. And here I am sanding it away. Even though it's like at 10 minutes of work, not much is really seen, so I feel like 90% of just sculpting is sanding. Here's torso types. You can have more cuts, which makes it more rotatable but less realistic, or less cuts, which makes it just less posable but more realistic since you can add things like rib bones. Here's a few seconds of me just playing with the posability. I have a neck joint which makes it more rotatable, and I also didn't string the doll as tightly as I should have, which makes it flop side to side. Here's arms and legs. I used a pencil just to make the center hollow, and then I extended the lower part of the leg in order to make it more elegant. Here's a time lapse of me basically going insane with the upper part of the leg with a Dremel, since this just made it smoother on the inside. It's not really necessary. You can see a bit later on that I break off the leg from putting in too much force, but I think I just had too much power at that moment. Whenever this happens, I just have to super glue it back together. I mean, it's a solution, but it's not exactly the strongest solution. Here's the difference between single joints and double joints. Double joints just give more rotation in the knees, but this is probably one of the reasons why my doll has way too much trouble standing. Just like the name implies, a single joint is one ball and a double joint is two balls connected together. They're both hollow and you can just glue them and shape them in that way. Here's a stringing time lapse. You basically need 2 strings in order to do this. One longer one that goes through the entire body, and one shorter one that goes through the arms. This took around 30 minutes in real life, probably because I'm not too experienced with doing this. I used a piece of embroidery string since it was what I had on me, but a better solution would be wire since it's easier to stick through the holes. Here are the 27 parts of the doll, including the different parts for the magnets as well. And up next is just a short picture frame of the steps it took to get to that point. And that's about it.